All right, let's just dive right into this explainer, because today we are tackling a thoroughly modern struggle that pretty much every single one of us faces. In our hyper-connected world of back-to-back meetings and 24-hour news cycles, simply taking the time to properly nourish ourselves has kind of become a casualty of the daily grind. So today we're exploring the incredible, strictly evidence-based science of mindful eating. We're going to look at how we can actually reclaim our plates to improve digestion, structurally lower our stress, and build much healthier habits overall. Seriously, think about this for a second. Have you ever finished a meal while scrolling on your phone or maybe binge watching a show, only to look down, see an empty plate, and realize you barely even tasted the food? I mean, we've all been there, right? We scarf down a few mouthfuls at our desks, relying entirely on external distractions instead of our body's internal cues. It's a phenomenon called mindless eating. And honestly, it is wreaking absolute havoc on our digestive systems and our fundamental connection to food. Now, the science behind why this happens is actually fascinating. It's known as load theory. Basically, load theory suggests that when your brain is overloaded with stimuli, like when you're furiously toggling between a work email, a group chat, and trying to eat your lunch, your attention capacity is simply maxed out. Because of this massive cognitive overload, your higher level processing, like your perception of satiety, just gets totally disrupted. You literally lose the physical awareness of being full. Your brain drops the ball on telling you to stop, so you're way less likely to notice how much you've eaten, or frankly, if you're even enjoying it. And that right there is exactly how we end up overeating and feeling super sluggish by 2 p.m. Which brings us to section 1, tracing the roots from monasteries to medicine. To really fix this modern problem, we need to look back at an ancient solution. Because mindful eating is definitely not some new wellness fad. It's actually been evolving for over 2,500 years. It stems from the Buddhist practice of sati, or mindfulness, where monastic communities would eat their meals incredibly slowly, in total silence, with this deep sense of appreciation. Fast forward to the 1970s, and Dr. John Kabat-Zinn introduces this concept to the West in a structured, secular format called mindfulness-based stress reduction, or MBSR. Then, jumping into the 90s, therapists started integrating these exact principles to combat disordered eating. And today, it's fully recognized as a therapeutic powerhouse in clinical and nutritional counseling all over the world. And this history highlights one of the core philosophies of the practice, which is really all about fostering gratitude. It's about taking just a brief second to connect with the earth and appreciate the origins of what sustains us. Just pausing to consider where your food actually came from and how it's going to fuel your body creates a profound sense of gratitude, and researchers have found that this simple shift in perspective actually helps shut down stress-driven emotional eating. Moving on to section 2, clearing the confusion. Mindful versus intuitive eating. We really need to clear this up because these terms get thrown around constantly and people mix them up all the time. They are related, for sure, but they're not the same thing. Mindful eating is hyper-focused on the immediate present moment. It's strictly about the sensory experience, noticing the colors, the textures, the exact aroma of your food while you're actively chewing it. Intuitive eating, on the other hand, is a much broader philosophy. It's all about listening to your body's signals by completely rejecting diet culture, letting go of arbitrary food rules, and honoring your cravings without any guilt. So think of it like this. Mindful eating is the physical, sensory practice you apply at the table, whereas intuitive eating is your overall psychological relationship with food. All right, section 3, the biology of the bite. What actually happens inside our bodies when we put this into practice? Well, the hard biological data proves this is serious endocrinology. Check out this number, negative 0.3%. A major meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials looking at people with diabetes found that mindfulness-based interventions significantly dropped hemoglobin A1C levels by about 0.3%. And that drop stuck around for up to a month after the interventions ended. So the big takeaway here is that by slowing down and aligning our intake with what our body actually needs, mindful eating isn't just a neat psychological trick. It is a highly tangible biological tool for glycemic management. But how is that actually happening under the hood? Well, digestion actually starts in your mouth, not your stomach. Saliva contains crucial enzymes that kick off the breakdown of food. If we eat too fast and don't chew properly, those enzymes literally can't do their job, which completely overworks the rest of your digestive system. Plus, deliberate slow eating physically calms the autonomic nervous system. It actively reduces our fight or flight sympathetic nerve activity, it modulates the HPA axis, and it's even been shown to lower interleukin-6, which is a major biological marker for inflammation and stress. You are quite literally structurally calming your body's stress alarm with every single deliberate bite. Section 4. Decoding the hunger scale. The science is undeniably cool, but how do we practically track those signals in real time? This brings us to the Denver Health Hunger Scale. It is an incredibly helpful way to visualize your appetite, ranked on a scale from 1 to 10. Down at a 1 or 2, you are completely running on fumes. You're dizzy, weak, full-on hangry. Up at an 8, 9, or 10, you are Thanksgiving-level stuffed, bloated, and just miserable. The huge issue with mindless eating is that we frequently wait until we are at a desperate 1 to even start eating. Then, because we're distracted and eating way too fast, we rocket right past satisfaction and land squarely at a 9 or 10 before our brain even registers what happened. So, dietitians agree that you really want to live in this sweet spot. You should start eating around 3 or a 4. Your stomach is empty, maybe growling a bit, but you aren't shaking or desperate. And you want to stop at a 6 or a 7. At a 7, your brain might be whispering, hey, take one more bite. But your stomach is clearly saying, nope, we're good. You're comfortably full, your energy is restored, but you haven't tipped over into that awful sluggish territory. And finally, Section 5, practical steps to start. Let's land the plane with the exact steps you can use to actually build this habit today. Look, you don't need to completely overhaul your life. Just try these 4 easy steps at your very next meal. Step 1, just start with a 10-second breath. Pause, take a breath, and ask yourself where you are on that hunger scale before you even touch your fork. Step 2, eliminate screen distractions. Seriously, turn off the TV, put the phone on Do Not Disturb, and step away from the laptop. Step 3, engage the senses. Actually look at your food, smell it, take small bites, and chew thoroughly. And step 4, check in midway. Put your fork down halfway through the meal and just ask yourself, am I hitting a 6 or a 7 yet? Am I actually satisfied? If you aren't sure, wait 15 minutes. The food isn't going anywhere. To put this into perspective, imagine eating a simple slice of citrus. Instead of just inhaling it while you're reading a stressful email, you actually feel the texture of the peel. You notice the sharp burst of acidity, the sweetness, the temperature of the juice. When you slow down and actually notice the flavors that normally rush right past us, meals become vastly more satisfying. You'll probably find you actually need way less food to feel completely fulfilled, simply because you're finally showing up for the experience of eating it. Which leaves us with one final thought for today's explainer. If digestion truly begins with awareness, what are you going to choose to feed your mind during your next meal? Are you going to feed it the endless, exhausting noise of a social media scroll, or will you choose to pause, disconnect from the chaos, and actually reclaim your plate? The choice is entirely yours. Give it a try today and just see how your body responds.